Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Minor Swing Lick Book. It's a series in which we are going to look at 5 really great licks by a great player and then apply them in an improv on the changes of the tune Minor Swing. And we started off with episode 1 and 2 about Sonny Stitt, links in the description, and today it's about DJANGO himself, the composer of Minor Swing. Maybe you've been checking out episode 1 and are wondering about episode 2. Episode 2 was made especially for my patrons over on patreon.com. So if you want to see that episode, it's also about Sonny Stitt because I always make 2 episodes about the same artist. Then check out my Patreon. If you join there for the €10 tier, you get access to that exclusive video. And if you would join at the €5 tier, you can download the tabs that you see on screen today. So today, episode 3 about DJANGO, and episode 4 will be about DJANGO as well, of course for my patrons. And I transcribed his famous solo on the tune I Love You, a link to that recording in the description. And I took 5 licks and we're gonna apply them to Minor Swing. And number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. One, two. The tune I Love You is in the key of F, but there is a part where there's 4 bars, or maybe 6 even, but there's a long part with only G minor, and you get this. That kind of sound like G minor major 7, G minor 7 to G minor 6, which is the same as C7, of course. And on that part you can play all your minor licks, doesn't really matter if it's major 7 or 6, but it's 4 bars, and in Minor Swing we don't have 4 bars of a minor chord in a row or of the same minor chord, except for at the end where we have A minor and it goes back to the beginning of the chorus, again A minor. So you would have 4 bars of A minor, or maybe there's some E7 in there. Anyway, you can just play your A minor stuff. That's why I played it in the solo at that specific part. And the lick itself also makes use of this principle of interchanging the minor chord with its dominant. So A minor in this case and E7. So it starts with an A minor line. You could say A minor 7, because there is this G, but it doesn't really matter if there is an A minor major 7 or A minor 6 under it. You can just still play this phrase. And now there's a line that sounds like E7. It sounds like E7 flat 9. Resolving back to A minor. But just play it on A minor, and you don't have to play the complete thing. You can just play the first 2 bars or maybe the final 2 bars, but as a whole it's very nice. That's why I wanted to find a place in Minor Swing with 4 bars of A minor, which again is at the end, rolling over into the beginning of the chorus. Let's go to phrase number 2. 3, 4, 1. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now the changes of Minor Swing that I'm using is not the original changes, because in the original chord progression there is no 2-5-1. But I added a 2-5-1 because I have written a book called the Van Heemert System, which is about trying to learn how to improvise on the guitar in a jazz style, starting from 0 to quite an advanced level. And in that book, I'm also using minor swing, but I want to have a 2-5-1 in major and in minor in there so that I can talk about those formulas. So there's a 2-5-1 in C in the second half, and I made a special backing track for that, and the backing track is linked in the description. It's part of my book, and I'm planning to make a second follow-up book, which will be a compilation of everything I talk about in this series. And again, we're using that same progression of minor string. So the 2-5-1 in C in the second half, D minor 7, G7, C. And here we have this really nice 2-5-1 phrase by DJANGO, starting on B2, 3, 4, 1. So focus your attention on that E. Make sure that that lands on B3. 1, 2, 3. So because these 16th notes, you can play them more like 8th note and then a quarter triplet, 16th notes. Doesn't really matter. It's just fast notes until you hit that E. I think it's really cool with that repeating G. I call that the swinging quarter note, right? It's just quarter notes, but you got to make it more juicy than it seems by, first of all, don't play them too long, play them short. And make it sound like you're progressing to the end. So you want to go... Very difficult to explain, but maybe something with dynamics, getting louder, or just... It's a feeling, but you can hear the difference between just playing 4 straight quarter notes or play them with direction. There's different ways of achieving that. Maybe you could also start making them longer and longer. So you start really short and then making them longer, or you start soft piano and you make a crescendo, you go to forte. Or other ways. Just keep it in mind that you want to have direction with those quarter notes. Let's go to phrase number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. And another 2-5-1 phrase played at the same part of the minor string progression. The nice thing about this phrase, of course, is the emphasis on the tritone note. If you have G7, and we look at the roots, then the tritone for that root would be D flat or C sharp. And if you play D flat 7, notice it's the same chord, only the root note changes from a G to a D flat. So that is what is happening in this lick. Emphasis on that tritone note, resolving to the root of the tonic, a C. That's a famous DJANGO phrase based on the major scale. And you can play them with the embellishments that are written in the tab. Or you can just play them without the embellishments. Both sound great. Let's go to the next phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. This is a really cool minor lick, an unexpected lick, because it emphasizes the 6, the major 7 and the 9. So it doesn't really feel like A minor. You have to play the chord below it to hear the beauty. Also go listen to the original recording where he plays this on G minor. It sounds magical, it sounds otherworldly. It's really a great phrase because it starts kind of ambiguous, but it resolves within the phrase to a pure A minor sound, playing the root and the third. Now the rhythms that I wrote down are an approximation. Django is very free, and this is a phrase that you can really easily play with the rhythms. Let's go to the final phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. And the final phrase is also a 2-5-1, again to C. This is based on a famous gypsy jazz or Django 2-5-1, which goes like this. 1, 2, 3. And there's many variations on this lick. For example, 1, 2, 3. That's one. And here we have another one, which is pretty original because it sounds kind of odd without the accompaniment, like there's something off with the rhythms. But if you hear it on a backing track, it's pretty nice and it's unexpected. The resolution is unexpected. 1, 2, 3, 4. That going back to that D 3 times. First time going back and back again. Gives it a special flavor that the original lick doesn't have. Although, that's also a great lick, you should also learn it. But here you have a kind of funny variation of it. That was it for this video. If you like the concept of this video, again, I wrote a book about it. And I'll play a little commercial for my book right now, so you can check out what the book is about. But it's the same principle. You have minor swing, and I take you through the stages of not being able to improvise to quite an advanced level by talking about fundamental shapes that are all across the guitar neck, which you can use to improvise on pretty much any tune. If you want to have the tab for this lesson, again, it's on Patreon for the cheapest tier, €5 tier. And if you want to have access to the next video, which I will produce next week, again about Django, another solo, but again, same principle. We'll talk about how to apply them to minor swing. You can join for the €10 tier. And maybe I'll see you in that Patreon video, or I'll see you in the next YouTube video. In any case, if you liked it, I hope you like this video and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, you just listened to a jazz guitar solo on the chords of the tune Argentine. If you are a guitar player and you always wanted to play jazz but had no idea where to start, I have a solution for you. I just released a book called The Van Heemert System, which describes the system I used myself to learn how to improvise, like you just heard. The methodology is completely based on learning a couple of shapes across the guitar neck that will enable you to improvise on every jazz standard you can think of. Of course, it's gonna take a while to become proficient at playing those shapes and how to apply them, but you don't have to learn anything else. No music theory, no scales, no arpeggios, No fretboard identification, no ear training, just learning those shapes and how to apply them. That's what I did myself, and you just saw the result. If you are interested in learning to play jazz guitar like that, and you are in the US, order my book in the web store of djangoguitars.com. And if you are in Europe, send a mail to this email address. Bye!